Hello friends, I welcome all of you to my lecture sessions on biochemistry for pharmacy students. So here we have been discussing about metabolism of individual amino acids and their biological significance, and in this session we will discuss in detail about 1-carbon metabolism. Okay, so let's see what is exactly 1-carbon metabolism. Let me tell you in brief. So in case of biochemical reactions, quite often you will see transfer of a single carbon unit containing functional groups. How many are there? You can see different kind of functional groups. You can have CH3 can be there, or CH2 can be there, or CH can be there, or C triple bond N can be there, or CHO can also be there. So these are some of the functional groups which are incorporated, incorporated in substrates to obtain different kind of compounds. Like for example, in an organic compound we have hydroxy group. This is to be converted to OCH3. Now what is it that we needed is 1 carbon in appropriate form, so that an enzyme helps in transfer of this carbon from a coenzyme onto this hydroxy group, so thereby the functional group can be incorporated. So in the same way, let's say if you have an organic compound and which needs 1 methyl group. Okay, so here OC bond is formed. Here also you have an enzyme so that this organic compound will be methylated. So here we have CC bond. We can also have CN bond. Okay, so in all these, what is it that is common for us is transfer of a single carbon unit from a coenzyme onto a substrate, or from a reactive biochemical onto a substrate. And in this way in many biochemical reactions you can also see in the formation of heterocyclic compounds present in our biological chemistry, like nucleic acids, where in the closure of the ring, or otherwise in formation of the ring, quite often you will see contribution from single carbon unit sources. Okay, so this is what I mean by single carbon unit containing sources. Okay, so which actually derive that carbon unit. That carbon unit will be loaded onto the reactive species via amino acid metabolism. So that's why we are discussing about the single carbon metabolism in amino acid metabolic reactions. Okay, now let's see, we have two very important carriers of methyl group are there. One is tetrahydrofolate, the other one is SAM. Okay, S-adenosyl methionine. One is tetrahydrofolate, the other one is S-adenosyl methionine. So between these two, tetrahydrofolate is a versatile reagent which can do all these transfers. Okay, tetrahydrofolate can carry all these reactive functional groups on it and then transfer it, whereas SAM is meant for methylation, exclusively methylation. Okay, so this is the only difference between these two. Now let's go ahead and then see how actually tetrahydrofolate let's see a little bit about its chemistry and how it is able to transfer carbon unit. Okay, so this is folic acid. Folic acid is this one. Okay, now in folic acid we have in the middle, so here we have para amino benzoic acid. This is the like a coupler which joins the heterocyclic unit, key heterocyclic unit over here, that is a pteridine unit, and then the amino acid chain we have over here, polyglutamate, means in case of folic acid we will have more than one glutamic acid will be there. Okay, So this is the actual structure of folic acid. So here in this entire structure, the bioactivity lies with the para-aminobenzoic acid and pteridine unit, tetrahydrofolic acid. This is folic acid, and eventually these two double bonds will be reduced. So for each one of the double bond, we need one hydrogen, here one hydrogen, to reduce it. So that's the reason why it will become tetrahydrofolate, and then this nitrogen and this nitrogen will help in carrying a carbon unit which will be abstracted from amino acids, and then tetrahydrofolate is now loaded with the carbon unit which will be transferred onto biochemical precursors. Okay, some substrates will be there which can capture this carbon, so thereby tetrahydrofolate is regenerated, and it will, the cycle will goes on and on and on till the objective is achieved. Okay, so this is the way. And amino acids, after giving away its carbon unit to tetrahydrofolate, the remaining framework will go towards regular either urea cycle or gluconeogenesis or glycolysis cycle, or otherwise energy producing cycles. Okay, so this is the outline. Now let's see. Yeah, this is it. So here you can clearly see the folic acid, folate, from here you will have the glutamic acid chain will be there. This nitrogen is nucleophilic, this is also nucleophilic, and here eventually one by one, first this double bond will be reduced, and then this double bond will also be reduced with the help of NADPH as a substrate. Now this will provide the reducing equivalent, so thereby the double bonds will be reduced. So ultimately what you are going to get is tetrahydrofolate. So here if you closely observe, this is like ethylene diamine type of chain is coming. So here this nitrogen and this nitrogen both are nucleophilic. So a carbon will be held like this by this particular chemical arrangement. Now if you closely observe the kind of steps that we have in carbon transfer reaction, especially if you take for example methylation type of reaction. So here is our tetrahydrofolate. So what is happening here? We have serine amino acid which is donating this part to tetrahydrofolate, so thereby it is loaded onto tetrahydrofolate like this. So here the chemistry is relatively simple. I am giving you a very simple picture here, NH and NH. Okay, the remaining things I am not drawing because it is going to confuse you. So let's say if it is reacting with formaldehyde, because the CH2OH is actually eliminated as HCHO. Okay, for the details please visit the serine metabolism. One separate video is there. There I have discussed in detail about the contributions of serine towards single carbon metabolism as well as its detailed catabolic reactions. Okay, so where formaldehyde is generated. Now this upon reaction, let's say if nitrogen is attacking over here, what is going to happen? N. Okay, so you have carbon here, and then because here double bond is going on like that, now you will have OH, CH2. Then you have NH here. Now what will happen is this OH and H will be dehydrated. Okay, it will be dehydrated. Then it will become CH2 and nitrogen is there, and both are connected like this. On this side you will have pteridine unit, on this side you will have glutamyl unit. So in this way it is loaded. If this did not happen, because dehydration did not happen, then there is a possibility that N shall carry CH2OH, which will be oxidized to formyl CHO, and then it will carry a formyl group. And if this is not working, like if this is reduced, then nitrogen will be carrying a methyl group. Instead of CH2OH, this can become CHO or CH3 or C double bond H, like this. Okay, so all these are possibilities that we can have with the CH2OH functional group. When it is loaded, and then what will happen? So here I am giving thymidylate synthesis as an example. So here uracil monophosphate will take this carbon unit with the help of thymidylate synthase. So thereby it captures it as methyl group, and thereby it releases dihydrofolate. Okay, dihydrofolate, because one of the hydrogen from over here is actually coming over here. So this dihydrofolate will be reduced to tetrahydrofolate, and then this tetrahydrofolate will continue to participate in this biochemical reaction until it is needed. Okay, so friends, this is the way how methyl group transfer, means one of the examples of single carbon transfer reaction happening in our body with the help of THF. In case of THF, as I told you, so these are the different types of carbons that can be transferred. Like we have methyl group is there, methylene is there, aldehyde is there, CHNH is there, means form amino, C double bond N. CH double bond can also be there. C double bond N means this upon transfer, okay, cyano group can be generated from this. Okay, and here it is like C double bond C. Okay, this type of things will happen in case of formation of heterocyclic rings. Formulation also you can see in formation of some of the heterocyclic rings. So this is the tetrahydrofolate when methylene is loaded. That's what we have seen just now. But if other groups are to be loaded, how do they look like? How do they look like? So this is it. So here you can see when methyl group is to be transferred, this 5 nitrogen is going to carry the methyl group. Methylene means a bridge will happen. Methane also a bridge will happen like this. Formylation 5 nitrogen or 10 nitrogen both can carry the formyl group for the transfer reactions. In case of imino, form amino group means cyano group is to be formed in the product, then the form amino group will be carried by the tetrahydrofolate fifth nitrogen present at the fifth position. Okay friends, so this is the way how tetrahydrofolate participates in single carbon transfer reactions. We can also call it as single carbon metabolic reactions. What is the origin? The origin is in the amino acid metabolism. But here if you closely observe, we also have carbon dioxide, which is a single carbon unit containing compound. But carbon dioxide is transferred by biotin, not by folate. You please remember this one. Means here it is not like transport of carbon dioxide to outside. When carbon dioxide is to be loaded onto any organic compound or any compound, let us say this one carbamoyl phosphate formation in case of urea cycle. Okay, there you will find this kind of a reaction. So I request you to please see the urea cycle once, where you will find this example. The second one is S-adenosyl methionine, or we can also call it as SAM. So here you can see this is methionine. This part is methionine, but that is added on to adenosine monophosphate over here. Okay, adenosyl unit. So thereby the sulfur is bearing a positive charge. So this is what makes methyl group highly active, so that methyl can be donated. Methyl group can be donated. And how it helps in one of the biochemical reaction, let's see. So here we are going to see a very important molecule, energy molecule, that is creatine phosphate. Creatine phosphate is actually synthesized from glycine. Glycine first reacts with arginine. so that the guanidine unit, okay, this is glycine, this part will be transferred from arginine, and it is released as ornithine. Okay, so this arginine helps in generation of creatinine. Now this will get methylated, this nitrogen will be methylated with the help of S-adenosyl methionine. The enzymes are commonly called as methyl transferases. Okay, methyl transferases. This is a very big family of enzymes which does methyl transfer reactions by using SAM as a coenzyme. Okay, so after this, the main objective of creatine is, this is creatine. Main objective of creatine is to act as a high energy compound which is a lot more stabler than ATP, because ATP is highly unstable and in cytosol it cannot stay for more than 30 seconds. So that's the reason why to act as an energy reserve, especially high energy phosphate containing energy reserve, creatinine is biosynthesized with the help of creatine kinase, not creatinine, creatine. Okay, please remember that, creatine kinase. So once it releases this high energy phosphate bond, phosphoramide bond, then phosphate is released, then this will form creatinine. Creatine is a neutral compound, highly water soluble, so this will be excreted in urine. Okay, so this you will see what is the role of creatinine clearance, etc. in urine tests, qualitative urine test, where creatinine clearance ratio is there. There we will have a discussion. So friends, this is one example of how S-adenosyl methionine can help you in methyl transfer reactions. Let me summarize the significance and relations between monomethyl reactions. Okay, so here we have tetrahydrofolate and SAM, both are there. Tetrahydrofolate, as I told you, is a comprehensive reagent for transfer of different types of single carbon units, whereas SAM is especially meant for methylation type of reactions. Now let's see. Actually, tetrahydrofolate receives the formimido group from histidine. Okay, means formimido group means N will be there, C double bond O, NH2. Okay, so this is the group we have. Now then what will happen to this? It will be converted to methinyl. Okay, formimido will lose the amino group over here, so thereby what will happen? C double bond C. Okay, so this is going to be formed. Then it will be converted to formyl group, because here you can see a water molecule is added. So if you add water molecule across this one, then it will become N. You break this one. Okay, N CHO N. Okay, so like this formyl group is now coming. Then what will happen? So in the amino acid metabolisms, tryptophan is one of the source of a single carbon unit, where tryptophan can provide you formyl group. Okay, so this formyl group can be loaded onto tetrahydrofolate. Now this methinyl group can be reduced to methylene. Okay, methylene. The C double bond C is reduced, so thereby what will happen to this? N CH2 N. Okay, so this is what is this one. Then N5 methyl, here the bond will be broken, over here, so thereby NCH3 NH. Okay, so now the methyl group over here. So here it can be N5 or N10, either, because this bond, if it is broken, then methyl group will be loaded onto this nitrogen, and if you break this bond, and then methyl group will come onto this nitrogen. Okay, both are possible. So here in the biochemical pathways, metabolism of glycine and serine provides us directly N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. Okay, so this compound will be obtained from glycine and serine, and this N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate, okay, methyl tetrahydrofolate actually helps us in the metabolism of methionine. Let's say, oh yeah, this one, homocysteine. Okay, methionine is actually converted to acetinosyl methionine, and upon methylation the remaining part gets dissociated so that homocysteine is formed. This homocysteine takes up a methyl group from tetrahydrofolate to obtain methionine. Okay, so the link between SAM and folic acid is over here. Regeneration of methionine. Methionine will become acetinosyl methionine. Okay, that's fine, by taking up one ATP, and upon methylations the remaining part, whatever is remained, okay, that gets hydrolyzed. So thereby homocysteine and AMP or adenosyl unit are formed. This homocysteine gets methylated to obtain methionine. So there tetrahydrofolate methionine synthase is actually receives methyl group from tetrahydrofolate. Okay, so in that way both these biochemical pathways, SAM as well as tetrahydrofolate, are supporting each other. So here methylene group over here, okay, is very much useful in the biosynthesis of thymine, or else you can also call it as the pyrimidine. Pyrimidine nucleus are biosynthesized from this one, tetrahydrofolate, like this. Purines are biosynthesized by taking up formyl group from this one. Okay. So friends, this is the way how tetrahydrofolate and S-adenosyl methionine helps us in the single carbon biochemical reactions. I hope you understood the concept of single carbon metabolism and its significance, and I request you to please let me know if you have any doubts and if any concept is to be cleared. Please let me know through the comment section. Please share this video with your friends, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get latest updates on this subject. Thank you all for your time. See you again with another very interesting lecture soon. Thank you.